Newstalk Breakfast with Ciara Kelly and Shane Coleman.
In association with AIR
On Newstalk.
Trinity College in Dublin kicked off Climate Action Week this week with Meat-Free Monday in their catering facilities across the campus. But how sustainable actually is a meat-free diet? Jane Buxton, the author of The Great Plant-Based Con, and Sandra Higgins, director of Go Vegan World, join me now. Jane, are you suggesting that a plant-based diet isn't sustainable?
What I'm saying is that a meat-free Monday as part of a Climate Action Week is obviously just a bit of virtue signaling and an awareness-raising tactic. The question is, what are they really aiming to raise awareness of? Because if it's to raise awareness of the need to promote more sustainable farming practices across the board, and perhaps get people to eat less but better meat, more regeneratively farmed local meat, then they're not really getting that message across by giving us the impression that meat is inherently bad for the environment and for us. It's simply not the case.
Sandra, do you agree?
No, I think, the university should be supported and congratulated for their move. In fact, I would encourage them to go further and follow the example of universities that have a completely plant-based diet. Jane is wrong. Sustainable farming that includes the production, the use of other animals for food, it doesn't exist. It's a myth. All the scientific papers that have come out in the last few years show that emissions from animal agriculture are up as high as 37%. It's a very inefficient way of producing food. It uses 83% of the world's land, and it only gives us 18% of our calories.
Okay. What do you say to that, Jane? The meat production, sustainable meat production doesn't exist?
I think that's completely incorrect. I don't know what studies Sandra is looking at, but I could give you dozens and dozens that show that sustainable meat production does exist. And in fact, in the UK, we have much more sustainable beef production than in other parts of the world, for example. But I'd just like to comment on that point about 83% of land is producing 18% of calories. Calories are not the issue here. Calories are not. Nutrients and quality protein is the issue. And in fact, if you look at a plant-based diet that lacks any meat or animal foods, it is severely nutrient deficient. And so while we need to balance the concerns of our environment with the food we eat, we also need to make sure we're getting those nutrients that everybody needs.
Okay, Sandra, not enough protein, not enough nutrients in what you're talking about?
Well, actually, beef uses 60% of the world's land, and it only gives us 5% of our protein. All the World Dietetics Association...
Where does the 95% of our protein come from, Sandra?
All the World Dietetics Associations are in agreement that we get all the nutrients that we need from a 100% plant-based diet, and it's also the most sustainable. Now, we've a group in the UK recently, the UK Health Alliance on Climate Change, and they've said we absolutely cannot solve the climate crisis unless we transition to a plant-based diet. And this group is made up of the British Medical Association, the Royal Colleges of Medicine and Nursing, the Lancet, the very professionals that are trusted in the UK with UK public health and dietary advice. And they're saying that the climate-friendly diet is a plant-based diet, and it's also healthier and will reduce illness.
Okay. So Jane, I'll just bring Jane back in. Sandra, what do you say about that? 5% of protein comes from beef, and a plant-based diet is nutritionally entirely okay?
No, well, it isn't. And it's interesting that Sandra mentions the Eat Lancet group, which has been very heavily promoting a near-vegan diet, not completely vegan, but near-vegan. And it's interesting that they themselves admit that their diet, which has very few animal foods in it, is not suitable for babies, toddlers, children, teenagers, women of childbearing age, pregnant women, the elderly, the sick, the frail. Now, the last time I checked, there are a lot of women of childbearing age at universities. So promoting a vegan diet for those women is promoting harm to health and to the future generations.
Sandra, what do you say to that? Not suitable for all sorts of women, including university students?
That's not the fact. I would encourage your listeners not to listen to somebody who's not a dietitian for their dietary advice. Consult the World Dietetics Associations or your local dietitian. What she's saying is absolutely untrue.
Well, it is the case that vegan diets, people are often B12 deficient, for example. We know that.
Well, B12 is fed to animals to ensure that the B12 is in the animal products. Certainly there is no B12 in plant foods, but it's very easy to eat foods that are fortified in B12 or to take a supplement. So just to go back to what Jane said there, it's absolutely untrue. In fact, it's the opposite. All the World Dietetic Associations are agreeable that a vegan diet is suitable throughout the lifespan, from birth to old age. In fact, toddlers, newborn babies should be drinking their mother's milk.
Well, that wouldn't be vegan, though. In fairness,
their mother's
breast milk isn't vegan.
Breast milk is vegan. How is breast milk?
Breast milk is an animal product. It's not plant based. Is what I'm saying. Vegans are opposed to the deliberate breeding and owning and exploitation and slaughter of other animals. No animals are slaughtered in the production of breast milk. That's very wrong of you to give that. We will have to. Clearly, we're not going to agree, but as in you guys aren't going to agree. But look, we'll unfortunately have to leave it there. Thank you both very much for talking about it, though. An interesting debate, no doubt. That is Jane Buxton, there, author of The Great Plant-Based Con, and Sandra Higgins, director of Go Vegan World. Let us know what you think.